SUVs is where all the action is at, accounting for over 50% of overall car sales. But can you really call a front-wheel drive monocoque SUV an SUV? The Gurkha, on the other hand, this is as SUV can get. This has history, this has provenance, this has been inspired by the G-Wagen and is also fondly called the Desi G. This is the only affordable vehicle with 2 locking differentials. Now, what do those locking differentials actually do? That's what I'm going to find out in this video, where we are going to go properly off-road. And also, because you have to drive on tarmac to get to your off-road location, we're going to tell you what this 2024 Gurkha feels like on the road. Welcome to Evo India and welcome to our comprehensive review of the 2024 Gurkha Twins.
Okay.
At 2.2 meters in height, the Gurkha is the tallest passenger vehicle that you can buy in the country. Fun fact, this is also taller than a G-Wagen. I'm 5'9" and this is taller than even I am. And also, you have this iconic SUV silhouette. This front end, it will get you noticed wherever you go. It is unmissable. And this is not all show. Listen to the door thud. This sounds unbreakable. This also gets a factory-fitted air snorkel, looks very cool, and it is also functional. The Gurkha is meant to devour off-road and all kinds of terrain, and that's where we're going to head out right now. The Gurkha Twins get the 2.6-litre 4-cylinder diesel engine, makes 140 horsepower, 320 Newton meters of torque, and these powertrains are actually derived from Mercedes-Benz. So back then, when Force Motors began their manufacturing journey, they licensed powertrains from Mercedes-Benz, and both the engine and the gearbox can trace its origins back to those Mercedes-Benz engines, which tells you a lot about the performance and especially the durability and reliability of these motors. I'm not going to attempt some inclines and declines. The Gurkha, it has a gradability of 35 degrees, which is the best in this class. Now I'm going to go down one of these slopes, and all I need to do is let go of the accelerator and let it just use the hill descent control to come down. Now, it doesn't have a hill descent control button, but what it does is, in low ratio, when you're in first gear, it keeps it at idling revs, and that's enough to make it creep along at walking pace, which is just the perfect pace that you want to be tackling these off-road obstacles. This here is a natural side slope. I think it's around 10-15 degrees. Kind of situations you will find in the mountains. You've got to be a little brave while tackling it, but the Gurkha just goes through. And I've got both my feet off the pedals. I'm not touching the accelerator, I'm not touching the brake. This is chugging along at idling RPM. It won't stall. I'll just chug along and pull through, making it look actually very easy. From the outside it looks quite dramatic, but on the inside it just looks easy peasy. The Gurkha is the only vehicle under 20 lakhs to get an electronic shift on the fly knob, which is what I'm going to use now. Get out of 4 low, get into 4 high, and then 2 high. On tarmac, always remember, got to be in 2-wheel drive. Otherwise, if you do these tight turns, you might damage the differential. And actually that also points out another thing on the Gurkha. It's really tight turning circle. The Gurkha gets an independent front axle, rigid rear axle, and that gives it the ability to take on these ruts and get into some crazy angles that other SUVs would just faint standing next to it. These pits are quite deep, needs little finesse in terms of driving. But with the torque on tap, you just chug through and get out. Okay, so now's where you need the diff lock. Just pull it up. It'll now beep telling me that the diff lock is engaged, and now with it engaged, it can climb out of these ruts and get into even more serious and extreme off-roading situations. With an approach angle of 39 degrees, departure of 37 and breakover angle of 28 degrees, really makes light work of this track. And I don't even want to call this a track. This is like mad hardcore. Whoa, no way. My wow, no loss. We now have this water trough. Remember the snorkel plus the ground clearance, together it gives this 700 mm of water wading capacity. That's almost till my waist. This is a proper adventurous SUV. But this is not just a hardcore machine that can only do the off-roading stuff. I'm now going to take it home, drive it on the road, because end of the day, you need to drive it on tarmac to get to places like this. And I'm going to find out what the Gurkha is like on the road. The first thing that you notice about the Gurkha is just how high you sit. You're practically sitting on the second floor. This view is unlike anything you've experienced on any car. And this is me saying this. I've driven practically every car that is on sale in the country right now. Now, this 2024 Gurkha has got larger wheels, yet despite that, it can just clobber bad roads and over speed breakers. You just don't have to slow down. Takes it so easily. And it's not that I'm driving around in a purely work tool. There's a 9-inch Android-powered touchscreen infotainment system, digital instrument cluster, reversing camera and parking sensors, LED lights, and of course air conditioning. There is convenience as well. The steering is adjustable for tilt and reach. The big size of this vehicle automatically translates into all this cabin space and captain seats. It's like everyone has their own personal throne in the Gurkha. Okay. The fun part is that every time you launch it, the way it jumps, the way it squats and takes off, that is a lot of fun. All modern cars, it keeps body movements to the minimum on the inside, but Force Motors has engineered the Gurkha to make you feel the thrill every time you drive it. The Gurkha, it gets the best turning circle of any lifestyle vehicle. Now, this U-turn, I've taken it many times in many SUVs, and in most SUVs, that is a 3-point turn, not in the Gurkha. And this is the longer 5-door Gurkha that I'm driving. Yet, it is very maneuverable, and that really helps you in the city, and especially when you're parking. I can even look down upon a Scorpio, and I can even see what his map is set to. In no other vehicle can you look down upon a Scorpio. That's how tall the Gurkha is. The Gurkha twins are two of the rawest yet most characterful SUVs you can buy. But I must warn you, these aren't for everyone. They're not trying to be a jack of all trades. These do the off-road stuff really well, and on the road, you are the gangster. This is an SUV that defines who you are. And isn't that what you want from your SUV?